Welcome back to another edition of Zero Blog 30. I'm Chaps. I'm perfectly normal and healthy. Cons is perfectly normal and healthy. And we have Katie COVID back for her second round in like a month and a half. We did it, Joe. We did it. We got COVID again. Kate texted us this morning when we were talking about what time we were going to record today. The first thing she said that she was in the throes or another case of diarrhea. Kate, explain how you're feeling.
I don't know if this is COVID, but it's like playing out textbook the way it did last time, where I wake up in the middle of the night. Oh my God. First, I was laying on the bathroom floor, just hugging the ice cold tiles. Next thing you know, I go to puke in the sink.
Puppies like to do that too. They love it.
When I went to puke in the sink, I was wearing these pajama pants. Pee poop, you pee out your butt.
Yeah.
It shot out of my ass like a cannon into my pajama pants from the force of my vomit. Thank God I was wearing enormous fuzzy socks because that's what saved the floor. I know that's a rough.
It's a tough visual. That's like when the kid goes in his diaper and it goes up its back.
We have fucking socks soaking up diarrhea in the middle of the night in a vomit-filled sink. That's
I'm afraid I've lost that.
Welcome to new listeners. This is your first time.
Excuse me. I don't understand. I don't understand why the sink and not the toilet.
I'm down at my parents' house. The toilet here is immaculate, but at home I would not want to touch the rim. Old Patty. I catch him going to the bathroom without using his hands all the time. It's normal. Gross.
That's normal.
No, that's a guy. It's a guy thing. Yeah,
well, the fuck you're just jealous that you don't have it like that.
Yeah.
This non-penis havers. Everyone's just fucking jealous that we can rip a piss anywhere we want to. I had a thread this weekend about the joys of pissing outside when it's 35 degrees. There's nothing much like it in the world. You're just jealous.
The steam. Yeah. But regardless, why wouldn't you? Whoever pukes in the sink?
I know it was the middle of the night. It was like 2 a.m. I panicked. I go to puke in the sink. The force of it blows out my britches.
Oh yeah.
In the back.
It's basically just like a fucking half pipe. Like you're doing it down the slope and it's coming back up into you in a 900 a la fucking Tony Hawk.
So now I'm a mess. I step out of my britches into the shower real quick. I'm cleaning off then the baby starts screaming. We're sharing a room because he's heard me vomiting. I am 30 something years old. I have to go into my parents' room and be like, Mom, Dad, I'm sick. And they had to get up and they've been with the baby since 4 a.m. while I am. Yeah. It's
crazy because it's the middle of February. So they didn't know if you were in there to wake them up to open up Christmas presents or not.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We could be getting ready for next year already. But so I feel terrible. I was supposed to go back home early this morning and record the show back up there, blah, blah, blah. So it's just been, I'm just glad my parents.
Do you have a fever, or do you think it's just like a one-night sickness? Any chance of food poisoning?
I had a big ass cheesesteak yesterday, like extra cheese, extra onions, cheesesteak with the works, and that was largely what has been cruising through.
Yeah, I feel like cheesesteak you're pretty primed to get food poisoning from cheesesteak.
Yeah. And I had
because you don't know sometimes that meat
how long
you
it's
never
been
know what that
there. Is it slimy? Like you never know.
So not that we lose all of our listeners. No, it was not. It was from a reputable place. So I don't know, but I just don't know what it was. I hope it's not because I'm in a 55 and up community. If I have COVID, I could be taken out though.
They're like the Grim Reaper in that meme,
right?
Where you're like, "Hello, Betty. Hello, Susan. Hello, Ruth." Just
not great.
The whole squad.
So fingers crossed that this is just. I hope I've been chugging Pepto-Bismol. I hope I start feeling better. But yeah, I haven't shit my pants like that since Afghanistan. So good times.
Love the military tie in there, Kate. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to say you've been going through it the last couple of weeks. You have your fridge that's fucked up. We had the international incident about your bangs. You had COVID.
I got weird at the holiday party.
You got weird at the holiday party. Your son has had multiple ear infections. You thought some other stuff was wrong. You just been going through it the last couple
weeks. Hand, foot, and mouth disease. His front teeth are coming in.
That too.
My fingernails are still falling off. Yeah. So and he's.
You need to catch some breaks.
Yeah, seriously. Maybe
by the way, guys, ticket. Before we get into the rounds and all that, I just found this woman named Lisa Tarot, who is a tarot card reader, but she's also in the military. And she's on YouTube, and I didn't know she was in the military. I just saw it that on Reddit. It was like, oh, this woman is doing tarot card readings about the Ukraine-Russia conflict to see how it's going to actually turn out. I read it and she starts out, a lot of people ask me this and I didn't really give my opinion because it's outside of my normal stuff that I do on my tarot cards, but the whole community wants me to do it. She has like 800 followers on YouTube, but like loves everybody and everybody comments on her stuff and how great she is and all that. Well, she goes into it, how she's actually in the military and starts using military terminology in her tarot card reading. And she says that it's going to end up fine, that all the allies are just going to come together and we're going to be better friends and get along better. And Russia is going to realize the error of their ways and really repent. I'm feeling good.
I'm into it.
Thank God.
I feel so much better now.
I have to tell you,
and I'm not
normally
a tarot guy.
All the news I've been seeing, I trust that better than anything else.
I mean,
you know what?
Really, there is no accurate sources. I'm believing that more and more. There's certain people I trust, like Dan the Moth from the Washington Post. If they come on this show, primarily, I trust them as far as how far they're going to go with the news and things like that. There's certain people out there that I trust. Major news agencies, there's not a single one that I'm like, maybe Reuters is probably the closest of like all the different ones, maybe the Associated Press, but all the other ones, get them out of my face. I don't want to hear about it. Give me Lisa Tara. And
they can get out. Yeah, exactly, I like the tarot. Right. I like the sound of that. It brings me peace.
And
ask you a question.
Tarot card reading, when you're doing it on YouTube and you have the little thing out and your hands are out there, I'd be self-conscious that people would be judging the shit out of my hand, foot, and mouth nails.
Yes, I could never do it. That's why I don't do tarot. Kelly Keegs read my tarot card for my life. She was doing readings on Lowering the Bar.
Does she know how, actually?
Yes, she knows how. We'll have to get her to
bring
do
her
Ukraine.
in to be our consultant, to bring our fucking foreign policies consultant, see how it's going to go.
Next episode, I'll talk to her this week. Next episode, we'll bring her in on some major stuff. Well, I was the only one besides Tommy Smokes, I think, who got the death card.
Jeez.
And look at me now.
Add that to the list.
True. I mean, that really is a feather in the old cap of the tarot card.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
All right, let's get into the actual subject.
Wait, real quick. I have a question.
Okay.
I know. I'm sorry. Just bear with me. You said Reuters and the AP. How come? And if they do, then I'm just an idiot. But doesn't it stand to reason that Reuters and the AP should have some sort of news channel like on television?
They might. But it's boring. You know,
but I think that becomes, you don't want to have, I guess you go to the Walter Cronkite of the world, right? Like where back in the day you'd have straight down the line news. This is just news. Now nobody wants that. They want somebody that's like going to be yelling at you and calling you a cuck whenever they're telling you the news.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That's all that actually works. Or they just straight up read Russian talking points. So that's pretty interesting as well. Speaking of which, we had that happen with Lieutenant Colonel Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi Gabbard. Should we say Comrade Gabbard? My
Lord,
God.
Tulsi.
Yikes.
Yikes. You don't have to be contrarian on every take. Sometimes Russia is actually bad, and it's okay to say that.
You do not, in fact, have to hand it to them.
You don't have to hand it to them. All right, let's get into the actual subjects because people are here for that. Round number one, a classic case of good initiative, bad judgment. I like how I'm like, let's get into the actual subjects because this is serious shit that we have to talk about.
Yeah, no, wacky rounds.
Classic case of good initiative, bad judgment. A former Georgia state employee now faces criminal charges after she allegedly faked multiple pregnancy for paid time off.
Great idea. Terrible follow through.
Terrible. Round number two, who among us has not gone to a sleepover for teens, gotten hammered drunk, and called them acne fuckers? Well, I certainly haven't, but now Kate at least has something in common with the U.S. House candidate, which is
I've never done that.
Yeah,
must just be this U.S. House candidate who's done that.
Teens. Round number three, an elementary school kid should have a 5-star recruit. Should be a 5-star recruit for all military recruiters in about 10 years. He wishes a motherfucking zombie would. And the punishment that they're giving out to a grandpa in this case, very sad. $40,000 bond is too much for this grandpa, I believe. Round number four, we're all going to go decide the fate of Ukraine today, the newest Netflix drama, or is it just Putin deciding on war via a bizarre scripted media broadcast to all? Turns out that the things in Russia aren't exactly just up to snuff. They're just people.
He held this big supposedly live meeting where he's like, all right, welcome to the meeting. Right here and now, we're about to decide if there's going to be war or not. And then all his cronies. There's a fascinating Twitter thread we're going to kind of jump through with some fascinating characters and tell you how that went.
And finally, round number five, there are reports coming out about a tank wreaking havoc in California. They're calling it Hank the Tank is there, which is I mean, nearly. It's just so unconscionable that somebody would use Frank the Tank's moniker than not be Frank the Tank. If this isn't about
That's
soda
who I thought it
or
was.
hot dogs in some way, it's just an abomination to the Lord. And it's not something that we're going to tolerate. What we will tolerate is having Whistle Pig's piggyback cocktails shoved straight down our gullets because we like that. I wonder if, because ginger ale helps. I wonder if the ginger mint one would help that belly of yours, Kate.
Honestly, I could go for one right now on ice, some liquid, some sort of something in my system.
I doubt that. There's no shot you actually want to drink a cocktail. I don't even think Whistle Pig would be like, yeah, maybe take a couple days off if you've been shitting your pants or your fuzzy socks have to soak up.
But I look forward, the best is when you're finally over a sickness, that first hunger pang where you're like, I'm about to eat the whole kitchen. I'm back, bitch.
But then you're always nervous, like that that you're going to have to backtrack a little bit.
Right.
But this piggyback barrel-aged craft cocktail is so much better than any seltzer that you could have. It's crisp, it's refreshing, it's super bold and flavorful, so you're not feeling sick. You can drink that and enjoy it. I don't think there's anything out there like it. It's 8% alcohol by volume. It's made from 100% estate-grown rye from Whistle Pig Whiskey Farm. The fruit is in the barrel-aged whiskey barrels, giving it those whiskey notes, and I'm a big whiskey guy. You guys know that. If you want to try out their whiskey, they have the piggyback variety, which is their most affordable option, and it is fantastic. You would never know that it's like the same price as essentially like Jack Daniels or something like that. It's way better quality than all that stuff. Try it out. They have fresh ginger lime cocktail, black lemon fizz, blackberry lemon fizz, and session citrus fruit, the mint one. It's great. Go to piggybackcraftcocktail.com for more info and make sure you grab a box in stores. Let's get going with round number one. This one's a little bit of fake pregnancy news. Kate, now I know that we usually do stolen valor kind of stories here, usually with a not anything super serious where people are getting pissed off or anything like that. Stolen pregnancy valor. I feel like that would make you more angry than just regular stolen valor.
Boy, was I mad when I read this story, because she does not understand what we go through.
Exactly.
The back pain, the constipation, the heartburn. It's infuriating. And she's getting all the good. Everybody gets out of their seat for you. You get the good snacks. You get the good. She was getting it all.
Cons off the top of your head, besides military stolen valor, what kind of stolen valor would make you the most angry?
Wow, that's a really good question.
Sports stolen valor?
No, people claiming to be from New Jersey when they're not.
Oh, who does that?
Jersey valor.
Why would you want to do that?
Because it's awesome.
Who does
well,
that?
It's like when people are like,
Delaware?
No, like people from like Pennsylvania who want to like claim the Jersey Shore.
Is this a thing, Nick? As another Jersey guy, is this a thing? People stealing Jersey valor?
No, okay.
I tell people I'm not from Jersey. I just say I was born in Brooklyn. I was forced to move to New Jersey.
You're not. Yeah, you don't claim it, but yeah, there's a lot of people in Pennsylvania who want to come use our beaches and then talk shit.
South Jersey is an extension of Pennsylvania. It just
is.
It
certainly is not.
Certainly
just
is.
On the name alone, Pennsylvania runs circles around New Jersey.
Yes,
Pennsylvania sounds nice.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Jersey should be so lucky.
Yeah. How's your Amish population, Cons?
We don't have one.
What are they doing?
Oh, wow. Not good pastries, but you do have Taylor ham, I guess. But they have
we
Pennsylvania too.
No, they take it from Jersey. It all comes from Jersey.
That was maybe Jersey should
Amish.
Protect themselves a little bit more. Anyways, let's get into the fake pregnancy story. Kate, what do we got here?
Yes, a former Georgia state employee now faces criminal charges after she allegedly faked multiple pregnancies for paid time off.
I love this
multiple. Lady. Robin Folsom,
this
age
lady
43.
is what so many troops say women do in the military. Like
yes.
this is what
this
story is what they think happens, and it doesn't happen. And if it does happen, there's an article written about you, and we talk about you on the show.
Yeah. And so this Robin Folsom, age 43 of Atlanta, was indicted on February 10th of 3 counts of false statements and 1 count of identity fraud, according to Oxygen.com. Folsom is a former employee of the Georgia Vocational Rehab Agency, where she allegedly...
Oprah Winfrey's media company's coming at you. You really fucked up.
You really fucked up. I think Oprah herself wrote this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She allegedly abused the use of the family medical leave under false pretenses. She allegedly told the agency's human resources at the former job, where she supervised the agency's marketing and media communications in late 2020, that she was pregnant. In May of 2021, the department got an email from a person who claimed to be the baby's father announcing the birth. In turn, the agency approved about 7 weeks of paid leave for Folsom, which, side note, Even if
great.
it's fake, 7 weeks is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking terrible. Do better, everyone. Anyways, however, all these fake pregnancies deserve longer leave.
Right.
However, one of Folsom's coworkers noticed that something seemed off and they blew the whistle. In March of 2021,
How
a coworker,
ballsy is that? Like if somebody at work, if you're like, I don't know, man. Like I
like a
honest to
very
God,
Larry
I don't
David
think Lauren's
situation.
pregnant.
Yes.
I don't think Lauren's
Yeah.
pregnant at all. I'm going to turn
This
her
could-
into HR. You have
this
to
could
be
easily-
insane.
Yes.
This could easily be an episode of Curb for sure.
Yes.
I mean, this is just scientific fact. The fact that she's 43 and faking multiple pregnancies, that should be a red flag right away, though, right?
Oh yeah, but if you go into HR and you're like, hey,
Yeah.
she's just so you know, she's 43. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
them ovaries
That'll
are
get you
baking
right in trouble.
anymore.
Right.
Not gonna go well for you. Well, a coworker observed the lower portion of her pregnant stomach come away from her body and
Oh,
believed that she wore a fake pregnant stomach. In addition, Folsom allegedly
that's
sent
gotta fuck
pictures,
you so bad. Like if you're just sitting there like, whoa, what the hell? What the
especially if
heck?
you're a dumb man and you're like, they do that?
What the
Pregnancy
fuck?
bellies come off from the
I
mom
don't think they were
sometimes?
supposed to come off.
Then
Yeah,
why can't we
well,
have sex still? If you could just take it off and set it on the ottoman, why can't?
Yeah, if they can just leave them at home during the day, why don't they do that instead of dragging them around? In addition, Folsom
Dragging
sent
a legit
photos.
wagon.
She sent photos of the new baby to various employees. However, she used different photos of different babies, different skin tones even among the babies. So one
You can chalk
employee,
that up to lighting.
true, it could be lighting. A later review of medical and insurance records found no sign that Folsom had ever had a child. And she had earlier reported the birth of a child in July 2020. She claimed she was pregnant in August 2021. So Irish twins, this lady really enjoyed that leave and was ready for. She resigned in October 2021. There's no way you can show up to work and show your face after faking a pregnancy.
No.
way.
You gotta move. You gotta move to the other part of the country.
Hey guys, sorry about
Especially,
that.
and not even because like the other employees, the other moms that actually had babies and went on their shitty 7 weeks of maternity leave are probably like, you fucking bitch.
You fucking bitch. She resigned. She was making $100,000 a year, which in Georgia is like $1 million, I think. She faces up to 10
Great
years
money in
behind
Georgia.
bars for identity fraud and 5 years in prison for each charge of making false statements. All state employees, and especially those that communicate with the media and general public on behalf of their agencies, should be held to the highest standards, said State Inspector General Scott McAfee. So pretty crazy, which I have something to tell you guys.
Cash isn't real.
I
Cash
borrow
is not
him.
real.
I borrow him every time you guys come around. He
Mm.
is not the real deal.
I knew he was so fancy. He's probably like one of those kid actors that just fucks around all over the place. Unbelievable Cash.
I remember though, but when I was on the FET team before we deployed in the final, we got pregnancy tested a few times, like as a group, like we all had to go down and take, because you can't deploy if you're pregnant. And every single time, because we all wanted to deploy so badly, that every single time, even if you know you hadn't, there was no chance. All of us were like walking back and forth, like, oh God, waiting for the results. Like, oh,
Well, it's the
fuck,
same way
it's
whenever
so
you're in
stressful.
high school and the drug dogs come in and you know you don't have weed. Like at that point, I never touched weed in my life. And I'm thinking, this is it. I'm going down. I
Mhm.
probably have
Yeah.
a kilo of yay in my backpack right now.
Yeah, it's incredibly stressful. Well, this made me think, we asked on Zero Block 30, did you or someone in your unit ever fake an illness to get out of a hike, PowerPoint, retirement ceremony, whatever? Did you guys ever fake anything to get out of something or to get some time off?
I didn't, but
I don't think so.
I had a person who shan't be named who faked a tummy ache and sent me out on a mission in his place. That was
Oh, I
that
did
was-
have
that was
Michael
thought to
McGarr.
be very dangerous.
I've told this story about Staff Sergeant Michael D. McGarr before, where he made his dog not track anymore by like stomping on his toes and shit because he was so scared to go out into actual town in Fallujah. And we had to
Nice.
turn him in for that. He was my staff NCO at the time.
Yikes, man. Well, our font said we had a guy in my unit who set up getting robbed and shot at an ATM in Wilmington to get out of a deployment 2 weeks before leaving. Brian,
What does
probably-
that,
I
how
don't know
does
if
that
he-
make sense? Getting shot
Yeah.
to avoid? I mean, that's like kind of worst case scenario.
I think he said he did, or like he pretended he did, or
Oh.
something. Like I got robbed and shot at, or something. Ryan 12 Bravo said, "Can I fake an illness to
Oh,
get
yeah,
out of my own?"
shot at, not actually shot.
Yeah,
Like,
shot at.
that's taking it a step too far.
Yeah. Can I fake an illness to get out of my own retirement ceremony? Someone asked. That's
You
if
actually
I was-
can. You could deny a retirement ceremony. You don't have to do
really.
it. Mhm.
Really?
That makes me
Like
hate
when-
everyone who's gotten one even more.
When I got
You didn't
out,
have
because
to-
technically, like you retire, like they said, do you want to have a retirement ceremony or do you want to decline it? And you can decline it. You don't have to do it.
I didn't realize it was a thing you had to do.
Yeah, you have
You're
to
that higher
on
ups,
your
they'll
retirement
put us
package.
through
You
it.
have to designate if you want to have a ceremony or if you don't want to.
Huh. Didn't
Can
know
I tell
that.
you what I do if I was a super high ranking officer upon my retirement?
Yes, if it involves going to a skating rink.
So I'd have
would be
everybody
fun,
show
right?
up.
The whole
I'd have
squad
a-
shows up in a skating rink.
I have everybody show up. They're about to like practice for my retirement ceremony. I'm like, wait, everybody, here come the buses. Get on the buses. We go to a water park,
Oh wow.
Yeah.
lazy river. The whole unit's in the lazy
Yeah,
river.
but are you doing like a safety brief before? Like we
Nope,
got
I'm out. That doesn't matter to me.
No sunscreen. We're not checking any of that. We're not
You
doing
could
any
do a
of
can
the
opener
stuff.
off the high dive for all I care. I'm
Well,
done.
make sure you're holding your nose. You don't want that Missouri incident to happen again.
True. Cracked my eardrum open.
Exactly
Anyways,
right.
Buckeye 341 said in 1997, a Marine in our unit had a roommate drop a full ammo can on his bare foot, fracturing it the morning of our departure for cold weather training in Bridgeport. Understandable. That's fair.
I get this one. No one likes to be cold.
But fracturing your
Yeah.
get an injury that makes more sense. Like snapping all the tarsals and metatarsals in your foot so you're not cold for 10 days doesn't seem smart. Like that's
no.
a long injury.
Yeah, that could
Mhm.
that could
And that
ruin
might be
your
an
life.
injury that sticks around for the rest of your life.
Yeah, because
That's
all those
true.
little bones in there, they might not heal correctly.
No, if
But-
you want to snap something, radial or ulna. That's a no-brainer.
Clip my radial head clear off. That's a great band too,
Yeah,
isn't
just
it?
go on a little vacation to Chicago, stay in a hostel. You'll be
Exactly.
fine.
Somebody had this guy, Matthew McCann said a guy faked a leg injury to avoid cake duty at the Marine Corps birthday ball. And then this guy had to fill in. That's great. I love that. I would hate to be on cake duty. This one's terrible. Robbie Andy Live said, I pretended I had the shits to get out of a burial at sea ceremony.
That's not nice.
Buddy, don't come on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe I shouldn't have read that one.
No, it's
Anyway,
fine.
yeah, and that's basically there's a bunch of people saying all sorts of stuff like that.
All right, let's move on to round number 2. We're going to go to Oklahoma and we're going to talk a little bit about this Democratic congressional candidate who did a little bit of goofing. Kate's on mute.
Was not responsible. I had to dry heave for a minute there. Everything's fine. So this whole story is bizarre to me for several reasons, but serious allegations are being made against an Oklahoma Democratic congressional candidate involving a party, alcohol, and middle school girls being verbally assaulted. Abby Broyles, a current 5th congressional district seat candidate who made a name for herself as a journalist in Oklahoma City, including at KFOR, who's reporting this story, and she's also an attorney, is at the center of the storm. Multiple parents, it's bad when there's a sleepover party and multiple parents reach out to the biggest news station in town immediately.
Yeah.
Multiple parents contacted KFOR about a Valentine's party for preteen girls in the metro.
Also,
Well,
I can't imagine. Could you guys imagine being the type of person who contacts the news? I don't,
No.
and not saying that there's a specific type of person. I just can't imagine a conflict that arises where I'm like, I need to contact the news.
I
Yeah,
guess.
like, hold on, wait a second. I have to call the news. Before this goes any further, I have to call the news.
I will say though, if my kid came home crying from a sleepover party and was like, so-and-so called me a bitch, and I'm like, that grown woman running for Senate or whatever, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's probably a call
My
the
mama
news
bear.
moment there. Yeah,
I'd be like, I'm going to burn it down. Yeah, I feel like maybe.
because
my
it's
mama
what I
bear.
guess it's what you do when you don't have any legal recourse, and what they did is not like criminal, but you're still a piece of shit, and you want everybody else to know it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Broyles was friends with the host of the party and was invited to the event. So she wasn't there because she had a child at this sleepover. She's just a
this is
grown
weirder.
woman invited to spend the night with another woman at this sleepover for teens. Okay.
It has to be like a church thing, right?
Nope. It included a sleepover and a movie where several middle school girls were in attendance. The parents in contact with KFOR said the evening started out fine, but took a turn when Broyles began drinking wine and became aggressive. Boy, howdy, haven't we all? Okay, right now I can't judge her yet. They say the more she drank, the uglier the situation became. The parents also allege No shit. The parents also alleged she began insulting the children with profanities and at one point vomited into a hamper and on one of the girls' shoes.
Oh my goodness.
It was like an attack, said Sarah Matthews, a mother with a daughter at the party who said her daughter was verbally attacked, like personal vicious attack. Other mothers corroborated the story, claiming that Broyles arrived at the Valentine's sleepover at the invitation of the homeowner. Matthews said she dropped off her 12-year-old daughter with a group of girls. She never expected anything like this to happen, though.
Well, yeah, because why would you go to a sleepover and who has a fucking guest speaker at a sleepover?
It wasn't even, I would never drop my kid off at a sleepover and expect the parent hosting that sleepover to invite some other adult with no kids to that sleepover. Like, what?
Well, yeah, I guess it's one thing if there's the moms of the daughters coming over, they're going to come over, hang out for a little bit and then they're going to go home and leave their kid there to sleep. But to just have not have a horse in the race there and then just coming over to hang out, I don't know. That's
and maybe they're doing it because they're like, the kids can learn something from a politician who's running for office. She's an attorney. She's accomplished. She's a journalist. Like, I could see it if I was if I was a kid and I showed up to a sleepover and like the shortstop for the Orioles was there when I lived in Maryland, I'd be stoked. Like, oh my God, this is incredible.
But I still wouldn't want him spending the night.
Right.
No. Well, I don't know if it was clear, if we've gotten to that yet, whether the parents were supposed to be spending the night or if this was just part of the night's events that occurred before the girls fell asleep. But also, you remember being 12? Like, I was always comfortable around adults, but I didn't want to hang out with them when I was 12. So like, why were they all
I loved hanging out with
together?
my dad's drunk friend. He had this one friend named Opie that whenever we would go fishing in Maryland and Opie would show up. One time we went fishing and Opie had just gone out to the blueberry farm to pick some blueberries. He came over to my house, asked my mama if my mama could check his butt cheeks for ticks.
Sounds like a great guy.
Yeah.
Ticks.
I mean, he was on his way out of the Navy. He had like 3 DUI, so it was fine.
It was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it was great fishing buddy. But honestly, those are the best people to fish with, though. They know how to fish.
Oh yeah, when like my dad was sober, he was fucking crushing natty lights too.
Yeah. Anyway, this woman, Matthews, who's talking about it, she said, Mama Bear starts coming out because you're like, this is disgusting. Another mom spoke to us over the phone and said her daughter told her that when Broyles arrived, it wasn't too bad, but she became more aggressive. She proceeded to tell me that Abby Broyles had been at the house. So no, Cons, I feel like you think other parents were there. No, it was. No.
Okay.
It was just the mom, the hosting mom, and this woman with no kids came over to hang out.
Okay.
She proceeded to tell me that Abby Broyles had been at the house very drunk and was calling them motherfuckers, motherfucker this, fucker that. She called somebody an acne fucker, somebody Hispanic fucker, called my daughter judgy fucker for not wanting to sleep with a blanket that she cleaned up wine with.
What?
So Abby Broyles spilled wine, wiped it up with a blanket.
Being a grown woman who's an attorney and journalist and looking at a middle school girl and call him an acne fucker. This is like what Big Cat thinks is going to happen when he's at In-N-Out in California. Like,
yeah.
Yes, it's and especially middle school girls.
Hispanic fucker is definitely over the line. The other stuff I feel like you could get away with.
The wiping up, though, she used this girl's blanket to soak up her wine and then called the girl a judgy fucker for not wanting to use the blanket.
True. That's pogue behavior.
That is very pogue, right? The mom on the phone told KFOR her daughter was brought to tears. She said Broyles came to apologize to her daughter that night, but that Broyles was too drunk to talk and instead vomited.
Oh my God.
Yes.
This woman's a legend.
Yeah.
She needs a job. Honest to God, she should be on Mean Girls pod with Alex and Jordan.
Yeah.
She really should be, because this whole thing has Mean Girls written all over it. The homeowner, who told us she didn't want her name released, tells us that this happened at her home and that she'd never seen Broyles like this in the past. This led her to reach out to parents the following day and share her concerns over the disruption, getting ahead of it. Hey, I had a friend over at a sleepover last night I probably didn't tell you about, and she called all your kids Hispanic fuckers. Anyway, let's see. I think she needs to validate, this other mom, Matthew said, I think she needs to validate what those kids felt and say, I'm sorry, I acknowledge how out of line this was.
I understand this is parenting, like they need to validate kids' emotions and things like that. But when you got a newscaster who's an attorney calling your kids acne fucker and throwing out racial slurs, this isn't about validation. This is about Abby being a dumb bitch. Like, people need to tell Abby, you're being a dumb bitch. Stop name calling fucking children.
Well, so this is where it gets even more awkward. She used to work at KFOR, who was doing this report. And there was this other report released initially. I think it was from a conservative news site. That is the gist that I got. And she said, no, none of this happened. I wasn't even there. yada, yada. And she's lying. It was false. And so this guy, Kevin Ogle from KFR, reached out to get the full story from her. So here's the interview. Who wants to be Kevin Ogle?
I'll be Kevin.
Okay, go ahead.
Abby, how did you wind up at a slumber party for middle school girls? That's not a typical venue for a candidate who's running for Congress.
That question just stings so hard already anyway.
Right.
Like you're a loser.
Abby Broyle said, I was invited.
No, I would
by
like
one of my-
Cons to be Abby, please.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you. Okay, thank you. Good call.
I was invited by one of my great friends, Cassidy, my friend from law school, to her house to be there while she was hosting a Valentine's Day sleepover for her daughter, who I'm also close with.
They were going to
She's
get
the
together
only-
and watch Uncut Gems.
Uncle John's.
Uncle John's.
Uncle John's.
He was the only parent there that night. And we're good friends, and I'm over at house quite a bit. I've known them for years, so it was no big deal for me to go and stay during a sleepover. And the girls and I had a great time. I think there's a TikTok video out there of us at the beginning.
In the
So
past
she's doing-
24 hours, there's been a lot of documentation about what happened out there. If, from what I've read, that's not the Abby Broyles I worked with at Channel 4, what happened?
She asked me to come over. She asked me to bring some wine. We had wine and sushi, and a couple of hours later, we were upstairs in the theater room watching a movie.
Now, this is different. I didn't realize we were having a wine and sushi night. Like, once you start talking about wine and sushi and mix those two together, your mercury content is higher and it's elevated because of the sushi, and the tannins from the red wine really start to affect your decision making. I feel like we might not give her a pass, but we got to reduce the punishment because this is definitely a mitigating factor.
Yes. And I left it out because it got too long, but I'm going to cut in really quick. She also claims that the homeowner gave her some sort of medication she had never had before. Doesn't clarify what, but essentially she said she became hallucinatory. She felt like she was on another planet. This is her excuse. I was given a medication
What
at
if
some
it comes
point,
out that she was slipped like magic mushrooms?
or something weird. What
Then we
if
got to
this
go back
was-
to the drawing board.
Yeah,
It's
but
got to
she
be
said-
something weird. You don't show up as a news reporter and attorney and just start calling kids acne fuckers. Like
No.
something happened along the way. There's more to this story. There has to be, because there's other
Or-
parts, because it's like, oh, are you drinking too much? And she says no, like there's this and that. There's got to be something that causes this, or just at the deepest part of this person, Abby's just kind of a bitch.
Or she drank a ton of wine, a little bit of a bitch, and was at a middle school party and regressed to middle school. If I had to go to a middle school party and be
True.
fucked up on wine, I would fall apart.
What if
I'd be
somebody made a
terrified.
comment about her bangs as she was walking by?
I would go
And
into that
she goes
party.
by and she had just cut her bangs with kitchen shears and she's feeling a little bit nervous about it and feeling self-conscious. And then we have one of these acne fuckers. And I love it.
Thank
Like
you.
viewed it like Tim Robinson, these acne fuckers, right? We have these acne fuckers that are walking by and like, look at this pumpkin pie haircutted freak. And the next thing you know, you're calling people racial slurs.
You
What
don't
a
go-
Oh
fucking
my
day.
goodness. What a
Yeah,
night.
that's the part that shows little true colors there. No matter what happened, not great.
Racial
I don't
slur
mean
at
to-
middle schoolers.
Nope, not
What are
great.
you doing?
I
Mhm.
don't mean to judge books by their cover, but have you seen what this woman looks like?
Oh no, I'm gonna
Blonde
go search.
hair. very-
Google
Yeah.
here real quick, because it's like, this kind of checks out. Not to judge, but
Oh
Yeah,
man,
I can see this from
And
her.
when you Google her name, every single thing is about this story too. It's from the New York Post, the Daily Beast, the fucking Daily Mail. Soon, later on today, it'll be from Barstool Sports. I mean, there's just so many news people. She'll never escape this. Never.
no.
No, and he asked her, it seems he asked her, well, do you have a substance abuse problem? She said no. And then he
Now?
says, it seems that you may have damaged your campaign beyond repair. How do you feel about that? His questions are brutal.
I
says-
deeply regret what happened because of the people who it affected. I'll be okay no matter what happens, but as far as this campaign, I'm never going to stop fighting for Oklahomans, whether it's in this race or fighting for the cause some other way.
That is a
Great
great
answer.
answer if you get caught speeding going 105 in a 70.
Not
It's
if
not a
you
great
call
example when-
teenagers acne fuckers, right?
Or racial slurs, Kate.
Or
I would argue that the racial slur is worse
Yes.
than pointing out their skin blemishes. Because
Yes,
let's be
extremely
honest,
worse.
a lot of middle school girls are acne fuckers.
If I was the parent of the so yeah, I would be I'd be like, how can I burn this career to the
Yeah,
ground?
this is one you call the news for. All right,
Yeah.
let's move
Anyway.
on to round number 3. This one probably a newsworthy story as well, and it's brought to you by our good friends at Rocky Boots. If you need to get out because your campaign is going poorly because you did some things that you shouldn't have when you were doing a little red wine goof, and you need to go out and hike around the mountain and want your feeties to be comfortable. That was a long tie-in. Rocky Boots
nailed it.
They're built for the men and women that serve this country, designed and built in the U.S. for each individual branch and first responders as well. Most recently, Rockies paired side by side with the United States Marine Corps and developed a boot for the Marines. If you haven't tried them out yet, they're super comfortable. And they just sent me these. They sent me boots. Are they in here? No. So I got 2 pairs of them. One pair is yellow and one pair is gray. And they're like the slip-on little. They're not like high tops, but they're like maybe half tops. They go just above my ankles, and I can slip them on. In the morning when I go take the dogs out and there's still some dew on the grass or things like that, these are fantastic. They're super comfortable. If you're like when I'm out there doing pressure washing my deck or something like that, I wear these and they're great. Make sure you pick those up by getting the promo code ZBT, and you will get 25% off on your next pair of boots by going to rockyboots.com into the promo code ZBT at checkout. Let's move on to round number 3. We're going to go back to another children's story. This time it's from South Carolina. Kate, what's happening here?
Zombies, my friend. So an elementary school student in South Carolina brought a loaded handgun to school because he wanted to shoot zombies, according to Detective J.C. Brewington. What a great detective name.
Off the top, just knowing the lead. How old does this child have to be where you consider no harm, no foul?
Any age over 10, I'd say.
I think younger. I'm gonna go after first grade. I think I think second grade is the cutoff for me, like where unequivocally bringing a gun to school is wrong.
Probably,
you underestimate the stupidity of parents sometimes, I feel like.
True. And this is South Carolina, so you have to take that into consideration.
People are a little fast and looser down there with such things. Detective J.C. Brewington said from the police department.
Fantastic name for a detective.
J.C. Brewington. Oh, great. Something's brewing in this case.
That's exactly right.
J.C. Brewington. A staff member of the elementary school in Lawrence found a small frame gun on the seat of a student's desk. Just left it right out on his desk. And then immediately notified school administration and the school resource officer, who then took possession of the firearm. There was never a threat made toward any other students or staff. And Lawrence is roughly 40 miles from Greenville, South Carolina.
I was just looking it up on a map to see if it's more of a rural area, and it seems like it is.
Yeah, it is. Mecca Thomas, superintendent of Lawrence County School District, said at the news conference, the staff member who alerted school officials about a gun acted in accordance with school protocol in a matter of minutes. The process was followed completely by that staff member, which alleviated anything that could have happened. Under the school district's discipline code, the child who had the gun was removed from the school, and the incident will be subject to a disciplinary hearing. We recognize the seriousness. We're thankful there were no injuries. Thomas also released a statement regarding the incident on the school district's website, saying there was no threats made. Franklin said authorities immediately determined the student had taken the gun from his grandfather's residence. The grandfather has been arrested and charged with unlawful conduct towards a child. Where's the part that he wanted to fight zombies?
Well, that was it. Like, that's the reason why when they asked him why he wanted to do it, it was because he said that he wanted to shoot zombies.
Oh no. And it did it say how old the kid was?
No, they didn't, because they had to protect them because
to protect the idea.
But this gun, like the way that it's framed, I looked it up because I had never heard that terminology. Have you guys the small frame gun?
No.
So it's essentially a gun smaller than a 9mm. So we're talking about something just a tiny bit bigger than a pellet gun.
That might seem like a toy to a kid.
Right. And this is something, and if you live in the country, those are not the type of guns that you are securing. Like if you have 9mm and 40s and shit like that, like, yes, those usually go into a safe or secured area. But so many of those spots, you might have like a fucking squirrel that needs to get off your back porch or whatever. And you have these little guns around. Is that the best weapons handling to do? No. But this is what, charging him with a felony, like charging this grandfather with a felony because the little kid was being mischievous and going into the house. To me, that's overreach.
I don't think so. I think if you have kids in your residence and you're not securing all your guns, even if they're small, that's a fucking problem.
I do think it's a problem too, but when you're talking about a felony for a grandfather, and doing $40,000 in bail. So $40,000, if you don't know how the bail system works, you have to up 10% to get out of prison, like to get out of jail on the initial charge. So this guy being from South Carolina, $40,000 bond, he's going to have to put up $4,000 worth of cash. A lot of people in America don't have $4,000 in cash that you're never going to get back. Like you don't get that money back. Even if you're innocent or whatever, you don't get that money back.
I'm just mama bearing it again. If my kid was in that classroom and I don't know.
But mama bear a little bit longer when your kids are mischievous and they're older and they actually can get into some shit. And there's not a whole lot you could do. Like, I think that we view these cases a lot of times, like they got access to the gun. Maybe was it just sitting out on the kitchen table, or was it in a drawer somewhere in his room that he had? Because if you have guns too, this is the part that I struggle with gun safety, honest to God. Like if you have guns in your home for the purpose of protection of your family from physical danger from others, and you always have to have every single weapon in a safe, how the fuck are you going to protect yourself? You don't have time to go get it out of a safe. And I understand the stats, and I understand both sides of the argument. It's a very difficult situation. But to say that, like, if I'm going to have a 9mm in my house, it's going to be locked in a different room with the ammunition in a different safe and all the actual typical gun safety rules, it makes no sense. Like, it really doesn't.
I see the thing there, but if you look at the amount of people who actually use their weapons in self-defense every year compared to the amount of kids killed by weapons that were left out.
Sure. I'm not saying that guns is
so
not a
many
problem.
kids are killed by.
I'm not saying guns aren't a problem.
I know, but it's just.
I'm saying that it's a difficult situation to wrap your head around. And if you live in a rural area, like luckily I live in a spot where if there was something to go down in my house, we would have police officers, we would have first responders here in no time. If you're living out in the middle of nowhere and your protection comes across on your own self, it's a difficult spot to be in. I just feel bad for the grandpa, because if you're a good grandpa, you don't want your kids to be fucking bringing guns to school. Like in 2022, no shot.
Right. Yeah. We need more information, I think, to know where was this
gun? Or it
gun?
could be a shitty grandpa who.
It could be a shitty grandpa. It could be a great grandpa. It could be a kid who's just.
If you're that grandpa, I'm sure you're listening.
Call us up 833-85-STOOL. We'd love to talk to you.
Now, I just want to know, like, it was in a shoebox in the top shelf of a closet, and this kid just found his way to it. You know, obviously this grandfather is pretty fast and loose with his firearms. Probably talks about him. I bet he takes his grandson out when he shoots from time to time.
It would be awesome if you could do it. If you could, for gun safety, like on our fucking phones, we have this little thing at the bottom where you can, well, it used to, not the new ones, but where it'll read your thumbprint. Yeah. What if whenever you have a weapon, do you have thumbprint?
They do have stuff like that.
Oh, do they?
I think so. Yeah. Shit. I think there's some. Yeah. I think that's something that's been.
All right. Well, let's move on to round number 4.
I'm pretty sure.
Different vibes. As you might see, it's just me on the screen now. Earlier today, we did this round on Ukraine and what was going on. We wanted to describe a scene to you that was kind of weird. I mean, there had been really no movement in Ukraine and Russia and the conflict that was going on there. So we're just kind of give you some vibes. Like we thought at first it was going to have a grown-up drinking wives vibe, but then we watched the entire thing and it had a little bit of a Babadook vibe. So President Putin had all of his different folks together, essentially what amounts to his cabinet. So he had his cabinet get together with him in Moscow, along with some of these smaller groups that are now playing a major role. The 2 Russian separatist groups is what they're calling it. I don't know if it's Russian separatist groups. I don't know if it's their own sovereign people. I don't know if it's technically part of Ukraine, and I'm not sure I'll ever know. Russia, however, is saying it is part of Russia and that it used to be part of Russia, and now they're going to protect it like it's Russian territories once again. So Putin had all these folks in his castle, essentially, in his compound, where they were all talking about their plans, and everybody was in lockstep. They wanted you to believe that this was live, that it was taking place as we watched it, when in reality, people looked in on their watches and it was 5 hours before. So we know that it's not happening live. It happened 5 hours ago. As soon as that went live, you saw Russian troops starting to move into some of these separatist groups in Russia or outside of Russia, the 2 groups that are in question. Immediately, President Biden sent out a notification that there was going to be additional sanctions. In those sanctions, in those 2 areas, the separate Russian states, there's no longer going to be allowed to have any type of American business, whether that be international, through a proxy, anything. All of that is halting. President Biden has also said that they're not going to install the 2 sanctions that they think are really going to affect Russia And that's the two oligarchs, or the oligarchs that are connected to Putin aren't going to be able to go to France, Germany, England, Canada, the United States, any of the spots that those rich billionaire oil, natural gas fuckers really like to go. They're not going to be able to do that. All that stuff is canceled. But Putin has really kind of doubled down on his efforts of saying, fuck the rest of the world because I'm going to do what I want, by sending all these people, all these military members into these separatist states. And now whenever they're doing that, America, NATO, Ukraine, they're all really, really on watch. Lots of people on Twitter right now in the national security world are all saying that this is the precursor. This is the second foot to drop. Next thing we know, it's going to be large scale conflict where Russia is going to say that they're protecting these native sovereign lands that have been there since essentially the beginning of time. We know that that's not true, but it looks like that's what they're going to do. So our next response is, what do? Well, if you're a superpower, you cannot constantly be relying on, I have to be reactive. You have to be proactive. And we're seeing some of that proactive nature taking place on the different websites that will track flights. There's 2 C-130s that were over Poland that are heading in the direction of Ukraine. There's another Air Force special operations unit that is on their way as well to see if they can help this crisis situation, because it looks like it's going to be a crisis. And now the more and more that the international community is involved, the more that we're saying, oh shit, this is going to be really bad. It breaks my heart, because thinking about those folks that live in Ukraine, 14 million people going to bed tonight, not knowing what's going to happen when they wake up every single day, even though we've had folks on, like we had Terrell Starr, and he was talking about what was going on in Ukraine, and it was primarily business as usual. And we even marked and laughed at how it's given a little bit different, but we don't know what's going on at the dinner table, how they're talking about it. One, because they've lived under the Russian threat for a long time. It's like constantly having a bully at your table at high school. Eventually, you don't come home and tell your mom that the bully was at your table because he's there every single day. She knows. There's no reason to say it. Every single day for these people's entire life, this big bully Russia has been sitting next door at their dinner table every single day. What happens now? Where do we go? Well, Biden really only has the 2 guns left in his bullet, essentially, from what I could see. And I'll be honest, I'm a dumb motherfucker, so there might be way more. He might have an unlimited magazine. But from what I can see, they have military strikes and these severe sanctions where none of the oligarchs are going to be allowed to go anywhere. From what I've read, that's the only thing that's going to really deter them. Large loss of Russian life for their military members, which I don't want. Like, I think even when we look at our enemies and shit like that, unless it's ISIS, like I don't give a fuck if ISIS dies. Like I don't care if ISIS dies, if the Boko Haram guys, I don't care if any of those folks die. Like if you're an extremist, you deserve to die. I'm completely fine with that. But these Russian folks, these folks that are in these other armies that are just getting told what to do by some crazy dictator, I kind of think about like, what would that be if it was us? Like what would we do? I'm not even sure I know. Like, even after spending years in the military, I'm not sure what would happen. I would like to see that we would all rise up and go against the unlawful order of what's happening from the president, but you never really know. These folks, the troops there don't deserve to die just as much as we don't deserve to die for what happens between. I mean, the military is drastically different under President Trump and President Biden. Just because you don't fall in line with somebody's political ideology, I would have still served under President Trump, even though I don't agree with a lot of things he said. He could have easily sent me to my death. Biden could have easily sent me to my death. Obama could have, almost did. and George W. Bush, they could have easily sent me to my death. The political ideology of the commander in chief does not affect the ground actions of those that are ordered to go. It just affects what you believe is it the right move or not. Ultimately, you go either way. Once you're in, you go, or you go to jail, or they kill you for treason or something like that, depending on what country you're in. It's a scary proposition to be in. I don't want to see hundreds of thousands of Russians die. I don't want to see hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Ukrainians die. I don't want to see anybody die. I want to see a legit diplomatic solution, and we need to have grown-ups in the building that are pushing this, that will cripple them economically, and even the economic crippling of Russia is bad for the Russian people. Where do you draw the line? Like, in this, you could probably see that I'm going through it, because as a person, you look at the people that it's affecting. Whatever happens, these sanctions are not going to affect Putin whatsoever, unless he gets killed. Like, these the economic sanctions are not going to affect him. He's going to be rich. He's isolated already. All these Russian soldiers, the military members, they're going to be the ones that die. The Ukrainian civilians, the Ukrainian soldiers, NATO soldiers that are going in to help, people from Poland, people from the UK, people from the United States, they're the ones. And it's always, always, always the people that are in charge that never take any of the responsibility. Nothing happens to them. The same thing would happen here. We have a large scale war. We make some mistakes. We don't do anything. It's the young troop that dies. It's not the person that sent them or signed the decree that dies. It's not going to be Putin in this situation. It's not going to be Biden. It's not going to be Macron. It's not going to be Angela Merkel. It's not going to be any of those people. It's going to be the young troop that dies out of the ignorance and out of the pure greed for more money, more control, and more dictatorship and people that they can perform that dictatorship over. That's the only thing that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen that way. We need more stuff to happen good. That's why we're going to move on to round number 5. We'll be back on Friday. Fuck me. This is tough. I don't even know if I cover this well, honest to God, but it's how I really feel. Let's move on to round 5. Roman Swipe help you last longer in bed. Their secret, they last a long time. They're a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and fast acting, and they don't require a prescription. They can send you swipes in a discreet, unmarked package, and each swipe packet is small enough to hide in your wallet, even your pajama wallet. They're small enough to fit there too. They're super easy to use. Just use the swipe straight out of the pocket and swipe it on, let it dry, and you're good to go. Go to GetRoman.com/ZBT to get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose the monthly plan. That's GetRoman.com/ZBT. All right, let's move on to round number 5. This one, little Hank the Tank action, right, Kate?
Yeah, little Hank the Tank. Barstool has its own Frank the Tank, who I would say is irreplaceable.
And Handsome Hank.
And when we have Handsome Hank, and I feel like this bear is a spoiler alert. It's not really a story about a tank, though. California does have rogue tanks. I feel like every couple of years, stolen by
That's why I believed it.
Yeah, stolen by Drunk
PFC. Story, yeah.
If you've seen photos of this fella, a 500-pound bear has been breaking into homes and evading the Department of Fish and Wildlife. How can you be 500 pounds and evade Fish and Wildlife?
This dude's an absolute unit.
Unit
is the only way. Yeah.
Bridget Marchetti Phillip and her family live across the street from where Hank, the 500-pound bear, broke into the neighbor's Tahoe Keys home Friday morning. I'm tired of having to fear our lives, quite frankly, because of what the bear may do or not do. That's fair. That's fair. John Barrett and Philip share a family house in the neighborhood and are teaching their kids bear safety after years of seeing them in their neighborhood. We have to be able to protect our children and walk outside. The kids have begun taking precautions.
We do that same thing in Florida with alligator.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure that story out of Disney I can't even think about it. Anyway, it's really scary because the kids talk about in the neighborhood, they can't really go on bike rides anymore as long as this unit is out there. Because clearly this guy will eat anything. South Lake Tahoe police found Hank inside a house after he got in through a window. Neighbors say this is the second time he's broken into the same house. Maybe it's an ex or something.
Could be.
I don't know. Police had to scare him away. Nicknamed Hank the Tank, the Department of Fish and Wildlife have been trying to track and trap him with 38 homes already damaged in the area.
Jeez.
This guy is a pro's pro.
Good on them for not just taking him out, though.
Yeah, that definitely. Because if you work that hard to cultivate that much mass, you deserve to live, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in town 40 years and I've been locking my doors recently, and I've never done that, said Tim Johnson, a resident in the area. If you get a crusty old timer who's a little bit afraid, then this bear is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bear burden the neighbors hope ends sometime soon. This has been happening for a very long time, and something very bad is going to happen.
They need that kindergartner from fucking South Carolina to come down there and protect them.
Yes, they do. Tell them the bear is a zombie. The Department of Fish and Wildlife are reevaluating the best way to try and trap the bear. If you highly recommend looking up photos of Hank the Tank.
Any of those bears that they just let gorge themselves and they track them after hibernation's done, or right before it starts, when they start getting all big and fat. I love those stories.
Oh yeah. They have the National Park Service Twitter and Instagram they track the fattest bears, and they have like a March Madness basically, where they let people vote on who the most unit looking bear is. I'll also say, you know, that feeling as a kid when you got home from school and your mom's like, I went grocery shopping, you open the pantry and it's like, oh fuck yeah, we got the zebra cakes, we got the cheese balls, we got the how good does it have to feel as a bear to break into a house,
And seeing
open a
honey.
cabinet, and not have to forage around in the woods? You like immediately all the best stuff's right there. Oh,
I think at that point, if Hank the Tank comes up to your house and he's been there a couple times, you got to just start setting him a table outside so he doesn't feel the
Yes.
need to come inside.
right.
Just put like a
here.
thing of an apples outside, or put some steak out there. Just give him what he needs so he doesn't
Right,
need to
this
go
is
inside your
What do
house.
you think
Communication.
bears really like in human
Honey.
cupboards? Okay. What else?
I mean,
What do you think bears? Oh,
everything. And bread. I
Everything.
know animals love bread. They because they can't
Okay.
bake it, you know.
Oh,
again,
true.
cheese
They don't
balls.
have the
I feel
baking
like would be
capabilities.
huge.
Yeah. Yo, but I'm wondering though too, like,
Bears really struggle of knowing the difference between tablespoons and teaspoons.
right.
True.
I think it's interesting to note though, with his weight, I wonder how much that affects his ability to still attack people. Like a black bear can run, I think, like 30 or 35 miles an hour. Hank the Tank, he's definitely got bad knees carrying around all this weight. There's no shot he's getting up to
Yes,
35
but
miles
wait,
an
our
hour.
nation's children are also getting more out of shape.
True.
So it's leveling the playing field for this
That's a
bear.
good point.
That's the reason why Abby called kids a bunch of fat fuckers. But
Right. She's concerned about the bears.
I think if you're going to go into a battle of fisticuffs with Hank the Tank, there's a couple things you need to know. One, you need to approach it like you're fighting Brock Lesnar. Like if Brock Lesnar gets you down on the ground, you're fucked. He's going to be putting those heavy hands, heavy fists, heavy mitts on you. You're going to be screwed. But if you can keep the fight standing up for a little while and let him tucker out, you got a real shot. Because Hank the Tank, as big as he is, he's going to fall real hard. And once he does and he's out of energy, just lock in that rear naked choke and you're good to go.
Can I say what would catch him immediately? The
What?
old tarp over a hole with some Twinkies on it.
Oh, true.
Hello.
Come on. I mean,
Put a
has no one
trampoline in the
watched
hole
a
just
single,
to see what happens.
Or
has
if
no one watched a
Hank the
single
Tank,
cartoon?
Hank the Tank comes busting through the door. Next thing you know, you're standing there at 2 a.m. shitting and throwing up into the sink. And he's like, I got to get the fuck out of here.
That's the
I
best
tell
way to
you
get
what.
rid of them. Mhm.
The body, the human
This bitch
body.
has got shit on her socks. I'm out.
When
You
I
think
woke
Hank
up,
the Tank? Go ahead. When you woke up,
I
what?
was so bloated. I
Mm.
was like, my body has never been this firm. It was like I was pregnant again. And I was like, what is this?
But
I'm
you look like you
looking at
feel
myself.
okay. I think it was food poisoning.
I think Pepto-Bismol, I've taken 2 cups now, thanks to my mom.
Thanks,
I'm
Mom.
in my 30s. So I don't think, and I was very paranoid that it was COVID because that's how it started for me too. It was shitting in a puke.
Sorry, but do you think Hank the Tank's wife shames him for his weight?
No, they're
No, I think
divorced.
she thinks it's
Sad.
hot.
No, it's a divorce situation.
Oh,
Yeah, he's overeating because of the divorce.
oh, right.
Yeah, she
Tells
got
all
caught
this time.
licking
She got
honey
the
off
kids.
another,
She got the
another
cubs.
bear's balls. It was a whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
It's terrible.
Now he's just on a tear. He's like, my wife hates me. I'll never be
Fuck
in love
it.
again.
She's
He
watching it on the
eats.
news. She's like, he's falling apart.
Oh, there's Hank again.
All right, let's
Breaking
move
into a
on to
home.
save rounds and alibis. Nick, we'll start with you.
Yeah. So, Kate, if you want to feel any better, I have a 3-year-old that hasn't pooped in 4 days. So a little constipated over here in the Bueno
my
residence.
God.
So I hear your story and I'm just jealous. I'm just so jealous of
Oh
it.
no, it's
So I
gonna
just wanna
come
let
for you.
know.
You're
Mhm.
gonna have a similar issue.
It's gonna come. She's a little upset. She's not her normal self because she's
When you can't poop, man,
backed
forget it.
up. But just want to hopefully we can live vicariously through you today and make it
Yeah.
through.
Sending all the poop vibes.
Yep,
your
and
way.
subscribe to YouTube. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kate's like Forrest Gump today. She's got enough runs for everybody on the podcast. Cons, what do you got?
Kate, I don't know if you saw this.
Sorry, Kate.
Large is out there traveling, and
Poor Kate. Fucking text message first thing. Boys, I got diarrhea again.
It doesn't even bother me telling you anymore. I just
And that's not just us though. Like it's thousands of people every week.
yeah, we have a few people that listen to the show. So
I'm a human
Yeah.
being, god damn it.
You are. And a special one at that. All right, Cons, what do
listen,
you got?
you have my word. I'm not going to tell Abby Broyles about this at all. All right?
Thank
She's
you.
not going to hear about it. Guy Large is out there on the road. Kate, he's denouncing Wawa in favor of Buc-ee's. Your thoughts?
I would like to say you can't compare the two. Bucky's is not a competitor to Wawa. They're like Sheets encroaches on our turf.
Wawa's not in the
Bucky's-
same league.
Bucky's doesn't encroach on our turf. Bucky's is a different ball of wax. It's more of a department store convenience store, whereas Wawa's just a high-end bodega. You know what I mean? So the two cannot be compared. They're two separate, wonderful entities. I too love Bucky's, the Golden
It's like
Nuggets.
comparing Major League Baseball to like a local church softball league.
Right.
Got
I
it.
just can't do
Okay.
it. Yes. But you love the local league. It's a hoot. But
Right.
Right. Yes.
So
Bucky's is great.
apparently, number 2, you can get fake pregnant bellies all over the internet. And they're not that expensive.
Yes.
I'm saving $12 here at Walmart, 18 at Amazon. Why? I mean, aside from a Halloween costume or, acting when people need to play pregnant, like why would one need a fake pregnant belly?
Buddy, you do not do enough fetish goofing on porno
Okay.
Twitter
Mhm.
or
Oh,
wherever.
There's a reason why they have diapers with fucking big old rubber cocks attached to them.
Okay. All right. Anyway,
It is upsetting. But
It is.
yeah.
two last thoughts here on President's Day. The GOP, I don't know if you guys saw the meme they tweeted, and it was taking a shot at Biden, and it just seems so so darn childish. It's like the official
Yeah.
GOP Twitter was tweeting a meme making fun of the current president. Like, listen,
Wasn't it the one where it was like Happy President's Day to everybody?
Yeah,
And then it
to
said
you,
not Biden.
not
you
you.
included
Yeah.
Nixon. Like,
yeah,
Nixon's pretty bad.
right. That's just, it doesn't even, and that's where we are, where it's just blinders, and it's like, are you red or are you blue? And it doesn't, we throw everything else out the window, and it's just, oh, if you're red, you're good. So I don't know where we're at if we have the official GOP. I wonder who actually runs that, if it's an
Who
adult
runs
or
the
an
account
infant.
is some super nerd fucking 20-something-year-old who got a giant boner when he tweeted it, and people are loving it. So he was right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I don't know.
Or
There
she.
you go.
know.
Or she,
and then-
thank you. Her flaps were flapping.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Like Dumbo's
Lastly-
ears.
Yes.
Last week I received the RSVP in the mail from President Bush. He won't be at the wedding, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
but it was nice of him to RSVP, to take the time to RSVP.
HW
go.
or regular W?
Just W.
Just W. Mm.
Spirit HW will be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be there.
You wouldn't miss
People are getting excited for your wedding, Cons. I got
Well, that's good.
I know. Talking to people at work. We're all excited. I got the baby's swimsuit. I custom ordered a very fun swimsuit for Florida. So
You
So you don't
custom
thighs
ordered
out.
it.
well, I ordered from a small mom and pop shop, and I have considered getting it comes with a matching suit if you want. I've been considering.
I mean, you should.
All right,
That's
Kate,
all I
what's your
got.
save round?
Nothing. Remember the F-35 crash, and I was like, I wonder
yeah.
I wonder if those troops can get in trouble, because they're the ones who nobody would know that crash happened, really, probably, except for some people on the ship posted photos and video footage to like Reddit and stuff. Turns out you can get in trouble, because Chaps, I even asked you, and you're like, I don't think they could get in trouble. Like, and
Yeah, I
people on
didn't think so. But
Yeah,
they
people on
went after the
Twitter-
higher ups. They didn't go after the people who actually posted it. They went for
Right.
the higher ups, so allowing it to be posted.
Yeah, I think 5 sailors are getting charged for that
Yeah,
leaking out.
And
now.
most of them
So,
are chiefs and officers.
Yeah, so that's
What do you
pretty
guys
rough.
think about that?
I don't know. I feel like in this day and age, you got to know that people have their. I don't know. I don't know.
It doesn't seem like it's an OPSEC issue. Like, I guess you could make the argument that it like brings down your defense capabilities if you are down at F-35 because they carry so much firepower. But it just seems like
Yeah.
the country's going to know that an F-35 was there, like Freedom of
Eventually,
Information
yeah.
Act and all that shit. You're not going to just write off. It's not like you lost a pair of fucking shooting gloves. You lost that entire F-35 into the
Right.
ocean.
Yeah, I guess my whole thing though is to like maybe not going out of our way to bring attention to it, like keep it in house. And Kate has to go presumably take care of cash, but that's where I'm at, chaps. Like, it's kind of a bummer that they got in trouble, but I kind of get it. Like, I don't know.
To me, it's probably a safe face thing, right? Like if you say
Yeah,
we had an
that's what I'm saying,
incident
yeah.
and there was a F-35 that's lost to technical difficulties and things like that, nobody bats an eye if it's a bullet point, because it's like, oh, training shit happens. But then if it comes out and there's a news report and half of an F-35 is in the water off the side of an aircraft carrier, I could see that looking poorly. But should it just be about optics? I mean, it went in the water. It did happen. The fact that it was on social media, that people saw it, I guess there's a little embarrassment. It's just bullshit, the things that people get in trouble for, but that's the nature of the military as well. It really is. All right, that's it for the show today. I don't have a save round, so we'll see you back here again on Friday. Have a good week, everybody. It's On the Retreat.